Welcome to our series featuring the audio edition of my book Iris After the Incident, narrated by Rachel Coates. A playlist with all the chapters in order is on the Romance Class YouTube channel. And head over to romanceclassbooks.com for more romance by Filipino authors. Content warnings are mentioned in Chapter 1 and are included in the description for this video.
Chapter 13. When I went to work on Monday, I was wearing new lipstick. Kimmy had given me two, and this was a softer pink labeled 497. It was the kind of color that was barely there because it closely matched my own lips, but I wore it with conviction. Look at this girl. Friends, sex, new lipstick. Life was happening again. Gio recognized it as soon as I kissed him. I found a message for me at the Tower 3 lobby, asking me to head over to a chicken in a salad place at the mall if I wanted to have dinner with him. So I did, and there we were. What Kimmy said was true, though. I'd needed to reapply the lipstick several times throughout the day, and did another touch-up right before I headed over to dinner. "You taste like work," he said, a tiny shred of it sounding like a complaint. "I was talking about this product all afternoon. You taste like chicken." "Do you want some?" I ate ahead. I didn't know if you'd get my message in time. I shook my head. "Had a late snack. You should call me and invite me to dinner." He shook his head. "I call you and other people can call me. Phones are doors and windows to madness." Seriously. I scooted onto the bench next to him, inhaling grilled chicken, garlic, and vinegar-scented smoke. "You can't ignore a phone if you want to." "Not in my experience. Not when you know the people I know." Well, nonstop calling, texting, emailing, asking how he was. Didn't that just mean more concerned people, more loved ones? It didn't work that way for me. There was nothing newsworthy about my family. My dad and mom had met in a logistics and shipping company that my dad still worked for to this day. Other relatives were in banks, insurance companies, and food companies. They made things, answered phones, delivered things. They weren't talked about as much as other families, I guess. "Fine," I said. "So, you're working, Kimmy, right? You were an employed chemical engineer today?" "Yeah. So you just learned how I can afford to keep living alone." "I learned a lot of things about you," I wanted to say. I mean, the Google crawl alone was already too much information to process, but the conversation with Kimmy was also telling, because she was right there, in his world, and not an anonymous web commenter. I appreciated what she shared, because she seemed to be a good person. But all Sunday, I kept wondering if I were better off not knowing most of this, or of discovering all of it on my own. This chicken restaurant was a glorified cafeteria, but they served good stuff. Would I have thought Gio was a cheapskate if he invited me here? Would he have taken me somewhere else, even if he couldn't afford to? How would we have found out all these other little things? Would it have mattered? That was another thing that had been taken away from us, the right to start over. "Did Kimmy tell you that she's my friend now?" Gio did not know that. So, she wasn't going around giving him recaps of everything. How did that happen? "My new friend from the building. Her name's Matilda. She's friends with Kimmy. Small world, huh?" "She knows a lot of people. I did ask her for help looking for an apartment when I took off. You're okay? Did she say anything weird?" "Weird like what?" "Weird like whatever you found on the blogs plus a family tree." Gio was done with his meal by now and was wiping his greasy fingers on a scrap of tissue. "She mentioned a few examples of, adventurous things your family's done." The sound that came out of him was a lot like disapproval. "It's not as funny as she thinks it is. Not many people are ready for it." "I don't need to meet them at all," I offered. "And if I do, well, I can't judge." "Thank you. Doesn't change how I'm not proud of being a part of that." What do you need, Gio? I wondered. It was hard for me to believe that he really meant that. Surely this hermit stage was a stage, the way I knew my own hiding in this complex would eventually come to an end. "Well, now you know everything about me," he said, "and I know nothing about everything else about you. I don't like that." "Oh, of course. Because you're competitive?" "Because If you know anything about my family, then you can't take me seriously. Oh, poor you. I kissed his nose. How do I make you feel better? He placed another greasy kiss on my mouth. Who do I talk to from your side who will tell me your secrets? I kissed him back as I considered what he was asking. Who could he talk to? Should I invite Liam over for dinner, introduce him to my boss, Janine, who'd never break confidentiality? I snapped my fingers. I know how you'll find it, all my secrets. I don't need all of them. His expression changed, turned a little serious. Hey, I was kidding about the secrets. You don't need to tell me anything you don't want to. No, there's something to it. We're both trying to start over, but we can't. We're not allowed to. There's always going to be someone in our past who knows the ugly thing that we're trying to hide. We don't see it every day now because we've run away from those people, but we didn't run away far enough. They're around. Start over. Gio said it slowly. Sounds good. Sounds impossible. But we're trying to anyway. He shrugged. I don't mind doing difficult things. Maybe there's another way to start over, Gio. Maybe it's not running away from the thing. Own what shamed you. Maybe if I ran right for it, took it by the horns and stabbed it right in the heart. My place, my bed, a different kind of threesome. Him, me, and my phone. I didn't delete anything. At first, it was out of a stubborn insistence that I was fine, so while I set all my social media to private, I didn't delete anything. I pulled up a photo from a little over 2 years ago. A photo of me and my friend Bessie, 2 days before Bradley broke the news to me. Bessie invited me to coffee after work to catch up. I was a little tense in that photo because, while Bessie was her usual fun self, the topic of conversation was when Bradley and I decided to get married already. I held my tongue. Didn't tell her that it wasn't the right time to talk about it. The barista snapped this photo after we asked her to. You look... I watched his face as he tried to find the word. Gio ended the mental search, his shoulders moving in a defeated shrug. The same. This is Iris. Before the incident, I said. I think the biggest problem I had at the time was paying my credit card bill and how annoying it was that the office printer always broke down when I had a presentation the next day. Legit problems. I wish I cared about those again, I said, laughing a little. You know that feeling when you look at your credit card bill and it's the day after the due and you haven't paid yet? God, I used to think that was the worst. It's not the worst. No, but you've probably never been late on a credit card bill. I don't have a credit card. I rolled my eyes. Anyway, my other most important problem at the time was that I felt that Bradley and I were growing apart. And then Bessie here suggests we should get married already, and I was 22 and starting to enjoy my job and... Well, enough of that. Moving on. There's a gap of like 3 weeks before I even posted anything new, I told him, showing him the feed. That's when it happened. He pointed to the first photo of the new era after the incident, a sunrise with no caption. I had forgotten that I had taken that. I went to stay in a hotel. Bradley joined me the next day, but I spent one night on my own and went up to the roof when I couldn't sleep. I napped on the couch up there and woke up when the sun came up. Was it the sign you were waiting for? Oh, I wanted it to be. I wanted it to mean something, but it really was just the beginning. I switched to my email app and showed him a forward from Liam. It was an open letter of sorts, from Tita Ara to my other family members. Typical of the extended family's childless matriarch, it was about her disappointment, her dismay, her shame. And then she went on to admonish the other family members for how they'd raised their children to be sinful, shameful, immoral whores. Not in those words, something like it. This is intense, Gio said, flinching, but not looking away. How did your parents even... Your aunt took them down in front of everyone. Oh, my parents apologized to her so much. I didn't know what Tita Ara did to inspire that kind of devotion from people who spawned me, but it was obvious which side they chose. There are other emails and posts, but this is the worst of it. I typed the search word and showed him all the archived email that was about it. 38, all forwarded by Liam because I wasn't in the loop, of course. I suspected that there were more that my brother hid from me. You got calls when your photos went public, I reminded him. Me? No one called. No one texted, just Bradley and Liam for a long time. It's like everyone else was afraid to send me a message because it would wind up in public. I can't believe they'd do this to you, he said, nearly a whisper. They're your family. Your family has experience with scandal. Mine doesn't. Yeah, but... Shit. Then I showed him the Facebook post, the one that outed my name as the person who had previously only been amateur Asian hottie. Written, of course, by Tita Ara, and on the surface not about me, but about how this made her think more about how we are raising our children and how blessed she felt that she was now stronger for having gone through this trial. What the fuck? Gio said. What I said, exactly. This was when your name went out? For people who had never seen the video, yes. That's fucked up. I don't even know what to say. I'll accept fucked up. It really was. But we weren't done yet. We had to switch to the browser so I could show him the rest of it. It was easy to find because I had it bookmarked. The original video submission was still there. Bradley was never able to get the site to take it down, despite reporting the user who posted it. I scrolled down to the comments and showed my new guy what everyone said about me having sex with another guy. He flinched again, but of course, couldn't look away. That was kind of the point. You can't look away when it's there. It was the most private thing I'd ever done, the kind of thing that shouldn't be seen by people, but when people saw and started saying things, I couldn't not look at what they said. She's hot. I'd do her. Love Asians. I'd last longer than him, baby. Iris. He had taken over the phone and was scrolling down the comments himself. I mean, shit. Yeah. A lot of comments. I switched to an archived Facebook post where one version of the video had been posted. The original had since been deleted, but I kept screenshots of it when it was still active. Comments. This time not so complimentary of my hotness, and instead were remarkably similar to my aunt's condemnation of me as the worst thing to have come out of our family tree. How did you feel when you saw this? He asked. It's weird, I said, because it's me. They're talking about me. It's awful, and I wish they wouldn't do that, but I got numb after a while. You mean that? Yeah, because it's all dumb stuff, and if it's not dumb, it's plain lies, like this one. I showed him a comment of someone claiming to have been a high school classmate. I don't have any freaking idea who she is, and she's saying I slept with her ex. Please. I had some of that. Well, my brother told me. He asked if there had been others, because some people were implying that there were, and if we needed to lawyer up. Oh my God. It's not true. Oh, I wasn't going to ask you to prove it. He looked relieved. Okay, I wasn't sure. I can't believe you even read this stuff about you. It surprised me, too, how strong my tolerance was for it. You know how we all deal in different ways? It actually got easier to get it over when I read the worst. Even when they were total lies. It just put everything in perspective. That none of these people really know me or can hurt me. It's all useless words. I was talking to Janine, my therapist, about this, and we sort of came to the conclusion that eventually it all becomes the past. Everything. Part of us. The best things that happen to us and also the worst things. The way that people sometimes forget the best things about us, they'll also forget the worst. Or remember. I began to accept that. But it's hard to find people who'll be okay with it. I wish I could tell you it's going to be fine, Gio said. I probably would have if I didn't go through what I did. That's all right. I don't believe anyone else when they tell me that anyway, even if it's true. Right. I began scrolling up, back to the video. Gio tensed and nearly let go of the phone. We don't have to, he said. I squinted at him. I don't know, Gio. This is the last thing, and I've seen your photos. This is different, right? It's different. It's not fair. We have to talk about whether you should watch this or not. Why is it important to you? Because it's out there. I assume that anyone who meets me has seen it. I haven't. I saw your photos. How many? There was a site that had everything, at least 10. A bunch, not blurred. Pretty sure you're being blown in one of them. Shit. He had to have known that photo, apart from having been there in person. But they're just photos, could have been staged. That's how I worked it out in my head. That they can look at it all they want, but the angle's always going to be off, and I could always say it was never me, if I had to. But yours is different. Because mine was clearly me, clearly my ex-boyfriend, clearly enjoying ourselves. So, I win this round? I told him. Gio was not amused. This sucks. I hate that you had to go through this. Look, I said, as far as I'm concerned, this is all my shame, all my dirt. No one can hurt me any more than I've already been hurt. If you watch it, you'll be just like the... I checked the view count for the video. 30,000 other people who watched it. I could still hurt you for some other reason, he said. But not for this. I lifted my legs off the bed. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm leaving my phone here. You can watch it or not watch it. When I come out, I'm just going to assume that you did. You can decide to leave and I'll be okay. Excuse me. Holy shit. Could not believe I just did that. Could not believe I went from wondering how to hide my incident from my next relationship to shoving all of it in my prospect's face. I would be so bad at card games. I might be really bad at relationships. Freshening up wouldn't give Gio enough time to do whatever, so I took my clothes off and stepped into the shower and had a long one. 2 hair treatment sessions later, both times actually waiting the 3 minutes the container said I should after applying to my hair and scalp, I rinsed and dried off, but still felt that I hadn't given him enough time. How much time did one need to do this? Uncharted territory. I wrapped my towel around myself. My bathroom was out in the common living space, the way my apartment was laid out, so I stepped out of the bathroom into the living room and had to endure the few steps that brought me back to the bedroom. Gio was sitting up, on the corner of my bed that was closest to the door. The phone was further up on the bed. Well, he was still here. He looked up at me, and I looked at him. And then, it didn't matter to me anymore what he did. If this was him about to tell me goodbye, because I knew that he couldn't use that information to hurt me. Hey, I said. Gio's eyes demanded my attention, and I couldn't look away. I felt lighter, strangely enough, happier even, but it felt odd that he'd see it in my face. It felt inappropriate, like I should be somber and serious, especially if this was a breakup hurtling towards me. You, Gio said, are brave and beautiful. Probably the bravest and most beautiful person I know. That sounded wonderful. The words tickled my ears, brought a smile to my face, even as I willed my lips to stiffen, straighten. But nothing. There's nothing. I don't deserve to be with someone like you. You don't get to say that, I said. I get to decide. Are you sure? I am. When you said you wanted to start over, look, I want that too. I think we're doing an okay job at it so far. You think? He turned slightly toward my phone on the bed, sort of glared at it like it was an intruder. Well, I enjoyed our second date very much. I should have asked you out properly today. Yeah, I added. This third date could have gone better. I couldn't help it. The smile was full on now, my brow raised, my tone sufficiently cheeky. He wouldn't have been able to resist that kind of challenge, would he? He couldn't. It's not done yet, he said. And I haven't done what I want to do on a third date. You should give me a detailed schedule. It's better if I just show you.
That was Chapter 13 of Iris After the Incident, narrated by Rachel Coates. Text and production copyright by Mina Viesguerra. This chapter leans a lot on the support we don't expect to receive, but also get anyway. And the book I'd like to recommend is Keeping Miss Kalila by Tara Frejas, link in the description.